So we just did the volume of a pyramid. How many pyramids fit into the cube? Three. And the cube is a prism, right? What's the volume for a prism? Base times height. So the pyramid is bigger than or smaller than the cube? Smaller. How much smaller? 3 times smaller. So how would I write that as a fraction?
1/3 of base times height.
The volume of a pyramid. The volume is equal to 1/3 the base times the height. Because remember, there were 3 pyramids that fit into the prism, right? Yes, ma'am? Correct. You could also do, this is how it's going to be listed. You could also say or base times height over 3. Either one's fine, okay? Does that make sense? All right. We're going to run through some real easy sample problems. Sorry, this is all messed up. Everybody got that? So 1/3 the base times the height is your volume for a pyramid. All right. Now, what I didn't have for us today was a cone. A cone has the exact same formula as the pyramid. How many cones would fit into a prism? It would be exactly the same as for a pyramid. It's 1/3 the base times the height for a cone. However, we can simplify this a little bit more. What is the base? It's a circle, so the formula is pi r squared. So the volume is equal to 1/3. The base becomes pi r squared, and we multiply it by the height. Okay? I think it's almost easier just to remember this, the base times height, and then you can always just add in the pi r squared later. Okay? So cone and pyramids, both 1/3 the base times height. Whoops, wrong way. Oh, that's right. Find the volume of the pyramid. How do we name that pyramid? Okay, what type of pyramid? Triangular pyramid. I would even be a little more specific. A right triangular pyramid, okay? Because it's a right angle. Nancy? You may. All right. So we know that the volume is 1/3 the base times the height. Well, the base is, what's the shape? Triangle. What's the formula for a triangle? 1/2 the base times the height. Now be careful, there are 2 bases here. Capital B is the base for the pyramid. Lowercase b is the base for the triangle. So when you do capital B, base for the prism or the pyramid is 1/2. The base is 4. The height is 6. 4 times 6 divided by 2. So the base is 12. Go back and plug this in. So the volume is 1/3 12 times what's the height? 9 meters. 12 times 9? 108. What's half of, or a third of 108? 36. What are my units? Meters cubed. Let me just show you a shortcut right quick. We did 108. It would have been faster to take 1/3 of 12. Yeah, what's 1/3 of 12? 4. So it's 4 times 9 and get 36. All right, either way, it's fine. No. The reason I picked 12, yeah, either one works here. Usually I pick the one that's whatever's divisible by either 2 or 3 or whatever we have to divide by. Okay. Kevin? You may. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Why would the height be smaller?
The height, because when we're looking at the base, we're really actually just looking at this triangle here. So if we draw that flat, it's going to be 4, 6. So the base is 4, my height is 6. Okay. It's confusing because there's 2 bases and 2 heights for this problem. Just got to try and keep them straight. Carlos? There is no slant height needed for the volume of a pyramid. Slant height is only needed to find the surface area. Now, some of the problems we may do later on in your homework will give you the slant height, and you have to figure out the regular height.
How do you do that?
Use your Pythagorean theorem for right triangles.
I know, but like, we use from it.
It wouldn't be given to you on this problem. It would be a square pyramid. Okay. The Great Pyramid in Giza had a height of 144 and a volume of 2 million and a lot. 2 million cubic meters, right? 2 million plus. Find the side length of the base. First off, you need to know some history. What type of base did the pyramids have? Squares, okay? This is going to be a square pyramid. We know that the height is 144, so h is equal to 144. We know that the volume is equal to 2,226,450. And so we just plug it into our formula. The volume is equal to 1/3. What times what? Base times height. So we plug in the volume. 2,226,450 is equal to 1/3 the base, which we don't know, times the height, which is 144. We can solve this two different ways. Yes, sir?
Can't you do 1/3 of 144 and then divide by the number, and that's what the base is?
Yep, absolutely. So what is 1/3 of 144? What is it?
Yeah, 48.
48 is 48 is correct. No, 40. I'm totally confusing me now. It goes in 4 times 12 to 24. Yeah, it's 48. All right. So you get 2,226,450 equals 1/3 times 144 is 48b. Divide both sides by 48. Kevin, do you have that answer for me?
2,226,450.
Can you just give me the numbers? 4, 6, 3, 8, 4. We'll leave that off. It's not going to make a big difference. All right? Point, dot, dot, dot. All right? And then, what shape is the base? So what do I need to do to find the sideline? So what's the formula for a square? X squared, right? You square x squared. Because the length and the width are going to be the same. So instead of base, let's write x squared equals 4,6,384. And then can you take the square root of both sides, please, Kevin? Should be like 220 something? 215. So 215, what are my units? Meters. Is the pyramid taller than it is wide, or is it wider than it is tall? Yeah. It's a pretty fat pyramid, yeah. It's easier to build fat pyramids than tall pyramids, right? Because otherwise everything wants to slide down the edges. Plus, you have to remember this is before they invented the wheel. Alright? Alright, volume of the cone. Real easy. Same formula. Volume is equal to 1/3 base times height. What is the base? Circle. So its volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared times the height. They already give us everything, so I'm just going to go through this real quick. Volume is equal to 1/3 pi. Radius is 5 squared times the height. Oh, wait, hang on. What's the problem? What did they give us? They gave us the slant height. What letter do we use for the slant height? L. So we need to find h, and you see the right triangle we have there? So it's going to be 5 squared plus h squared equals 8 squared. 25 plus h squared equals 64. H squared equals, what's that going to be? I'm sorry, questions in here? Do you see this triangle right here? You remember when we talked about cross sections? Cross sections where you sliced it through. All right, we looked at the MRI. If you slice it through, you can form a cone, a right triangle right here. All right. And if you need help with this, I can make one and show you where it would be. Okay. So take the square root of both sides. So h equals what, Kevin? 6.24. That's good enough. So the height then is 6.24. So the volume is equal to 1/3 times pi times 25 times 6.24. I'm not going to waste your time. You guys can type that in the calculator, right?
Yeah.
All right. So any questions about the volume of the cone? All right. The next problem we're going to do is going to be a little trickier. All right. How would we do this one? So let's just start with the formula and see where we get, okay? So the volume is what? What's the volume? 1/3 the base times the height. What is the base for a cone? So the volume is 1/3 pi r squared times h. Do we have the height? What is it? Do we have the radius? No. How could we find the radius, Carlos? Use a trig function. So if I look at this triangle, this is 16, and this is 65 degrees, and this is r. Now, a few options. When we had right triangles, we had 3 things we could use. We could use those two. We could use the Pythagorean theorem. But in order to use the Pythagorean theorem, we need to know 2 of the sides. Do we know 2 of them? No, so that's out. We also could use special right triangles. We had 2 special versions. What were they?
45, 45, 90.
45, 45, 90.
30, 60, 90.
30, 60, 90. 65 is not one of those, right? So your last option is trig. Trig is, we need to remember our famous Indian chief, Sokotoa. Which 2 sides do I have right here? Opposite and adjacent. The one I don't have is the hypotenuse. So if you look at Sokotoa,
Wait, how much the radius?
we don't know yet. Which one of my trig functions has both the opposite and the adjacent? So we're going to use tangent. Does anybody remember how to set it up? So here, equals opposite over adjacent, so 16 over r. Good. How would I solve it, Carlos? Last step? Good. And what do we need to be sure that we do with our calculators before we try this problem? Make sure it's in degree mode, okay? Those will cancel. So we get r is equal to 16 over tangent 65 degrees. Kevin, can you do that for me? R equals 7.46. We take that r and we throw it in here. So the volume then is going to be 1/3 pi 7.46 squared times the height. The height is 16. All right? And then you can throw it all together and get the volume of the whole pyramid. What are the units for volume again? Cubed. What is it here? Feet cubed, okay? Don't tell me degrees cubed. Alright?
So is that possible?
No.
The answer is going to be
296.81 pi. Perfectly fine. Units, feet cubed. Okay? Any questions with that? I mean, it's a little harder, but, like, once again, long, but steps we all know how to do, okay? You guys were way better at trig than I thought you were going to be, so good. Power to you, right? I thought we'd be like, oh, trig, huh? But you guys were pretty darn good. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Yep. Anything we've already learned is fair game.
Okay, are you making our final or is it the crystal level?
I'll answer those when we finish this, okay? I'll leave some time. We're almost done. Carlos? Alright. The last problem. Find the volume of the solid. We don't need to do this, so I can answer your questions. How would you do this, though? Square? The what? The cube first? Good. Triangle? Pyramid. What type of pyramid? Yes, thank you, Emily. Alright, so square pyramid. We name it by its bottom, right? So, yes, I know that you know what you're talking about. Just make sure you use the right words, okay? So you're going to have to do the bottom part, which is a cube, plus the top part, which is the pyramid, okay? And add them together. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Your homework for tonight, please write that down. So there's your homework. Most of those are fairly straightforward. The last ones are maybe a little tricky. Who's this guy? Yeah, Zuckerberg. He's really smart. Carlos? Yep. So this is Facebook's IPO. Does anybody know what IPO stands for? Go ahead. Initial public offering. That means they went from a private company to a public company. That means if you guys want to be part owners of Facebook, you can go out, you can call your stockbroker, and you can say, I want to buy 1 share of Facebook. And they'll say, okay, that will be $30 plus $7 for me, for the commission. And here you go. Here's your piece of Facebook. And then you technically own a piece of Facebook. Very, very small piece. Right? I'll talk to you in a second. Right? So however Facebook, since you're an owner then. Yeah, Facebook is going down. Well, no, that's all people, but still. Everybody got the homework down? No. Are you putting this on Airline? Yeah.